Okay, Eisenberg kids, this is your math lesson for Friday, April 10th. You need to have two documents pulled up from your assignment page. One is called, it says Math 410 Three-Dimensional Shape Attributes and looks like this. And then the other one you need to have pulled up says More Solid Figures, and it looks like this. So there's nothing in your math book for today. Everything you need is on your computer. So what we're going to be doing today, just like we did with our two-dimensional shapes, we're going to be classifying our three-dimensional shapes based on their attributes. So today we're going to be doing a lot of describing or telling about a shape by using its different attributes. So the attributes we're going to be focused on are the number of faces. And remember, faces are the flat parts of a solid figure. The edges, remember, edges are where faces come together and meet. Vertices, which are the corners or where the edges come together. And then the base. So remember, the base of a shape is the part that it is standing on, okay? So the bottom face of the shape is the base. So we're going to go through each of these and fill in this chart. So a rectangular prism has one on top, one on bottom, front, back, side, side. So it has 6 faces, and so I'm going to type that in, 6 faces. I'm going to say 6 rectangular faces, okay? Now remember, a square is technically a special kind of rectangle. So sometimes rectangular prisms can have square faces on the side, but usually they have regular rectangular faces around the other faces, okay? So 6 rectangular faces. There should be 8 edges. Or no, wait, I lied. 12 edges, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 around the top, and then another 4 around the bottom, so that's 8. And then there are edges around the sides. So here's that would be 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are actually 12 edges. Okay. Vertices, there are 8 vertices. So those are the corners. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 on top, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom. So that's 8 vertices total. And then the base of a rectangular prism is shaped like a rectangle, which is why we call it a rectangular prism, because the shape of the base is a rectangle. All right, let's go on to the cube. The cube has to have 6 square faces. So in order for it to be a cube, every single face has to be a square. Edges are actually the same as a rectangular prism. There are 12 edges on a cube. Okay, so there are 4 on top, 4 on the bottom, and then 4 around the sides. For vertices, there are 8, just like with the rectangular prism, 4 on top, 4 on the bottom. And then the base of a cube is the shape of a square, because it has to have all square faces. All right, let's go to the sphere. The sphere has 0 faces, because remember, a face has to be a flat part, and a sphere does not have any flat parts. And then the same for edges. Since there are no flat parts, there's no place where a flat part can come together. So it has 0 edges. Same thing with vertices. Since there's no place for the edges to come together and make a point, there are no vertices. Okay? And since there's no base, since a sphere can't really stand on its own, it would roll around, there is no base. Okay, so it's almost like a sphere isn't even there at all, but it is. Okay, all right, let's go to triangular prism. A triangular prism has 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 on the bottom would make 5. So it has 5 faces total. 2 are triangular So there's 2 triangular faces, and then there are 3 rectangular faces, because you can see how the sides of the pyramid are actually shaped like rectangles. Guess I should add the word faces. There we go. Okay. Then for edges. All right, let's count them up. We got 1 on top, 2, 3, and then we have the sides of the triangle, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 edges on a triangular prism. Let's talk about vertices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 vertices. And then for the base of a triangular prism is actually, this one is sitting on its rectangular face. But I think technically, usually the triangular prism, we say that the shape of the base is a triangle, because that's the whole reason that we call it a triangular prism. This one just happens to be laying down. Okay. All right. Cylinder. The cylinder has 2 circular faces. 1 on top, 1 on the bottom. And then what was next? Edges. There are, sorry, I was thinking. There are, since edges are where 2 faces meet, okay, this has 0 edges, okay, because faces are flat parts, right? And since the flat part, or since the cylinder does not have a place where flat parts touch each other, because the only flat part is on the top and on the bottom, then that means that there technically are no edges, okay? And then vertices, there are no vertices either, and that's because the shape of the top and bottom are circles, so there's no points, okay? And then the base of a cylinder is shaped like a circle. All right, so now we're going to switch over to our other page. And at the beginning, it's pretty much just talking about the same thing. It's reminding you that solid figures, or 3-dimensional figures, are figures that cannot fit in a plane. Now, that doesn't mean like an airplane. A plane in math means a flat surface. So 3D figures cannot fit on a flat surface because they have height, okay? So length, width, and height. This picture is just reminding you about those vocabulary words that we just talked about. So I'm going to go ahead and move on from that. This example says, describe the faces, edges, and vertices of the figure outlined in the building, then identify the shape of the figure, okay? So they're talking about this building right here, okay? So this figure, it would have how many faces? What do you think? You can pause and count. All right, so the number of faces, we'd have a front and a back, that's 2. Side to side is 4, and then top and bottom would make 6. So the figure has 6 faces. What about edges? Can you pause and count the edges? Okay, this one has 4 edges around the top because it's a rectangle, 4 edges around the bottom, so that's 8, and then it has edges around the sides as well, so that would be 12. This figure has 12 edges. Vertices, go ahead and pause and count your vertices. Okay, this shape would have 4 vertices on the top, 4 vertices on the bottom, so that makes 8 vertices total. All right, down here, we're just identifying the shapes. That's part of understanding the attributes, is being able to look at a shape, see its attributes, and give it a name. So this first one is a cone. This next one, almost deleted the picture. This next one, if it's shaped like a ball, the mathematical word for that is a, see, I did it. Thank goodness we have the undo button. All right, so now we have sphere. And then this last one is a cylinder. Okay. All right, number 4 says describe the faces, edges, and vertices of the figure and then identify it. I'm going to see if I can move this back to the next page. There we go. All right. So it says describe the faces, edges, and vertices of this figure and then identify it. So this figure has how many faces? Pause and count. All right, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 triangular faces, and then one on the bottom. So that would be 5 faces. One face is so what's one of the faces shaped like? So one face is a square, because the bottom one is the only one that's different. So one is shaped like a square. The other 4 faces are what shape? Triangles. All right. Edges. How many edges are there? You can pause and count. Okay, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 going up to the top, and then on the bottom we have 5, 6, 7, 8 around the edge of the square, so that would be 8 edges total. Pause and count your vertices. Okay, I see 1 at the top, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 vertices total. This figure, since the bottom of it is shaped like a square, this figure would be called a square pyramid. All right, you should be ready to get on your Edge Elastic assignment. Make sure you keep this page and definitely this page pulled up to help you as you are completing that. And these shapes, since we've done the entire top together, I would like you to go through, and you won't be able to fill it in on the document, but go ahead and go through and think about these as well. We just didn't have time to go through the whole thing, okay? All right, let me know if you need any help.